Hi, this is Jordan, and I'm here with the Legacy Crusaders YouTube channel, and I'm here with Benji.
What's up?
We're going to be teaching you how to play Infernoids.
Alright, so today we're doing how to play Infernoids, and if you're not familiar with the series, normally a deck expert provides a deck to me and tells me how to play out my hands, and I, as a competent Yu-Gi-Oh player, will ask relevant questions to determine what the reasoning is behind the plays and things that you wouldn't normally be able to get someone to explain. We actually tried to do this in reverse yesterday, and it was really hard to play and explain what you're doing, and people don't always ask the questions you might ask. So today we're doing it the way it's normally done. So as the expert in this case, which is unusual for this series, I'm going to be explaining to my brother what to do, and he is going to be in control of the cards, and he's going to make the plays and have to question all the decisions I'm forcing him to take. So we're going to play a few games. Explanation will be posted kind of in between here and the start of the first game.
Blind second, you said?
I always blind second, because with the exception of a meta where every player is going to be doing like an extra link start board, you don't really mind if they go first. Every once in a while you lose to a turn one unbreakable board, but sometimes there's nothing you can do about it.
They're making us go first.
Well, we're going to set all three cards. We're going to try and put them in zones 1, 3, and 5 so that Mech Knights have the hardest time getting their monsters onto the board if they're playing Mech Knights. Also, we're setting Feast despite that we don't have a way to activate it, because at any point in time we can draw into a Void card and we want it to be live at that time. Ooh, danger. So we're selecting a card randomly. So he'll be summoned and Bigfoot is summoned.
We have an option of Called by the Grave. I don't think we should.
But... yeah, he's not that big of a threat. Although we could get OTK'd if we don't stop it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I guess we're going to Called by the Grave Lucian just to prevent getting OTKs, because we don't have a hand to play out anyway. Also, I think all these monsters are dark, so they're not affected by Goes and Match. So Goes and Match is mostly here for the Gouki match, and it's just not going to be effective.
Well, let's see if he makes Break Sword or Dante. If he makes Dante, we could Goes him.
Yeah, exactly. Although, we'd be forcing him into Break Sword if we used Gozen now, and then he might have to destroy it, but it might also encourage him to target Feast.
No, that doesn't help us.
So if he has any other danger card in his hand, he can't summon it, because it's going to automatically get selected. But he can fill his hand with good discards now. Like he's getting a Phantom Knight Fogblade, so he can discard that if he had another Bigfoot, and he can win right now. Oh my goodness. He seems to have everything. I'm guessing his deck is all dark if he's playing Wee Witch. So we're probably going to lose this game just because we didn't open up particularly well, and we wound up going second. So we're really hoping
Excuse you. We went first.
Oh, we went first. I'm sorry. So we went first, which was not the game plan, and we didn't open a Void Feast, which is pretty much the only turn one play, with the exception of Goes and Match in the right
we have
format.
tons of outs still. We can
there are plenty of things
any
to draw.
Void Feast, any Void card, basically.
And I play 4 more of them.
Imagination would be really OP.
Although our Call by the Grave is used, he may have drawn into a Ash, but not likely.
Okay, I think we have some plays. I don't know how good they are. You're going to have to tell me.
Alright, so he's got a lot of back row. We don't know what they are. They could just be a bunch of Graceful Charity type cards.
Probably enough. Fogblade this.
Oh yeah, he could Fogblade that. That would be a problem. And there's nothing we can do about that. So
if we just hard summon this, he can Fogblade it too. So
I guess our best play is to use Decatron and hope that he doesn't Fogblade it. If he does Fogblade it, he actually can't attack us.
That's good too, at least.
And there's not much we can do to avoid any of this. Yeah, we're kind of stuck here at the moment. So Fogblade's going to make it so we can't die right now. But if he can
probably
summon...
find a way to get it off the board.
Yeah, all he has to do is summon 2 level 3s and go into Break Sword.
Yeah. And he's got plenty of level 3s in his deck, I'm sure. Although, maybe not. He could be running just the 6.
So that's Graceful Charity, so he's going to speed through his deck really quickly. So Chupacabra doesn't currently have a card in the graveyard to summon. I forget what Ragged Gloves does. I think it searches a monster.
Or searches a Phantom Knights card, but I believe they're all monsters. Anything with Phantom Knights.
So yeah, there's nothing we can really do. Our hand is just not optimal for this.
Excuse me.
Okay, so Ragged Glove sends it to the graveyard. He can't get by us at the moment unless he has like a Twin Twister or an MST. He probably didn't think that played far enough through.
I feel like if we ran Link Karibo, we could have done something.
Oh, that would be helpful if we had one more Infernoid.
Oh, Feast is live.
Might as well do it since we're stuck otherwise.
No Ash is good. I'm assuming 2 Decatron Sajet.
Yep. Try and get maximum number of Infernoids so we can try and end the game
all
right
in attack
now.
mode?
You can put the Decatrons in defense because if our play gets messed up, at least we'll be defending. Because they're not going to be used. If you want them
in specific zones, you got to tell me.
No specific zone. But you make an excellent point. I should let you know if that's important. All right, so
I feel like if you wanted to go for the jugular, you'd send the Atondel now.
Yeah, send a Tondel.
And got this in attack mode, so.
A Tondel and
Petrulia?
Well, we're gonna have some trouble getting over Bigfoot. Actually, we're not gonna have that much trouble getting over Bigfoot. Send Antra. We're gonna bounce the Wee Witch because we don't want to give him back any cards. And we need to take a quick peek at his graveyard. So currently there's no Phantom Knights in there, but there is one on the board. So we're going to link. If we link, I'm not sure if the Fogblade will go to the graveyard. I think it does. If the target, when that monster leaves the field, destroy this card. Okay, so it's going to go to the graveyard. So we're going to link into a Doolittle. With the negated Decatron and the level 3 Decatron, because it can't tribute. We might want to tribute. Okay, and we're actually going to tribute and banish both Fogblades.
With these?
With both of the monsters that are currently on the field. Because we're going to be killing the Ragged Gloves and we don't want it to be in the way. Yeah, so both of them Fogblades are going to go. Next we're going to bring back a Tondel. By banishing, one Decatron and one Antra. That'll put out a lot of damage. We're going to summon Sightsmoss as well. We're going to make another... do it again. Some Sightsmoss, banish both Decatrons. We're going to go into Underclock Taker.
Oh, broken. I see what you're doing now.
Yeah, but we are kind of risking a lot
with
on that back
right?
row. Yeah, on those two. We're going to reduce the... We're going to summon a Tondel. And next to the Underclock Taker.
What do we keep in the grave?
We're going to get rid of the Deviati and the Sajet because we'll be closer to summoning the Sajet. I mean the Sightsmoss or the Atondel sooner. So we're going to reduce the attack of Bigfoot to 0. And now we should be able to OTK unless the back row is a Fogblade, I guess, which I should have considered. Alright, so it's time to attack. We're going to attack with Atondel. Right? Yeah, because Atondel, if he sends the monster to the graveyard, we'll be able to trigger his effective attack again. So as long as he doesn't have Fogblade, we should be okay. I can't imagine why he would wait for that to be destroyed to use a Fogblade to stop us from OTKing him. Alright, and we have the game on board, assuming he doesn't stop us.
Very well played.
Yeah. I think I can do a better explanation in the following game.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was just more of you have to say the end goal before we make the moves. The goal was to underclock Taker so the Atondel could just crush.
Indeed. Blinding Second. Our opponent has a full 40 card deck with a 15 card extra deck, so it looks like he's playing a good deck. We opened the 2 big guys, which is not preferable because we prefer to keep them in the deck. Negating him is not that important. What cards did he banish?
All spells. I don't believe any of them do anything.
Well, he gained attack, so he might have hit one Metaphys card. Okay, that's not the tough one for us. Alright, so just normal summon Decatron and go into Harmodic and destroy the Ragnarok. We're just trying to get some monsters available, so when we have to go into Anoku or Deviati on the following turn, we'll be able to. Yeah, set one of those, even though the Gozen match, even though it's probably dead in this match because all of his monsters are light. Alright, and we'll just pass it back.
You want to explain why this is here?
The Infinite Impermanence is set in the center zone because more likely than not he'll activate a spell or trap in the center zone. So I would Impermanence him. Keep him from getting his cards. Also, we don't have to banish his monster in the graveyard this way. Also, he could still play a spell or trap right into that zone anyway and get negated. We don't really want to banish his monster in the graveyard.
Okay.
So we're going to take the hit. He can't summon a monster from the deck. We'll take less damage. And now we have enough Infernoids to summon either Anoku or Deviati. But that would be a better one to summon. So let's summon a Tondel by banishing the Harmodic. Because we do play Purification, we're going to try and keep the Decatron in the graveyard. And I think we're going to banish the Anoku and keep Deviati around. Because they could play a ton of back row in that deck. Now a Tondel's going to attack twice and put in a ton of damage. Okay, I'm not fully familiar with this one. Discard one Metaphys card, draw one card, then you can banish one Metaphys monster from your deck. If this card is banished, you can add a Metaphys card. So currently this isn't doing anything. It's setting him up for a future turn. When that one is shuffled back into the deck, what does it do? Ooh, Honest. That was unpredictable.
Yeah, Honest is particularly good in this deck because of him.
Alright, so...
Well, there goes our board.
Yeah. What happens when he shuffles back the Tyrant Dragon? You can special summon a Metaphys from his hand. So, and read Ragnarok, I want to see if the monster that it summoned gets banished. From your deck, put banished during the end phase. Okay, so, and that one, when does Nephthys do when it gets banished? During the next standby phase?
Add a Metaphys card.
Okay, so we might just lose because we didn't see Honest coming. We don't have enough.
We need a body on the board.
We do, but if he summons a bigger one from his hand, we're in trouble. I guess we'll just...
This is the only one that's stronger than a Tondel, so if he doesn't have one of these in his hand...
I would just pass. Like, I feel like we're going to lose
I think we definitely
anyway.
lose if we pass.
There's no guarantee.
Because this is going to summon someone from deck.
It only summons something from deck when it destroys a monster.
That's when it does damage. What's
damage?
battle damage to your opponent?
Misread it. Alright, put out a Tondel. I misremembered how he worked.
He's definitely not the Metaphys expert, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I've decked out quite a few Metaphys decks with my other deck, but I haven't played them with Infernoids in a while. But once they put out like Macrocosmos or D-Fissure, we're in trouble no matter what. If he has another Honest, we're going to lose anyway. That banishes our card. So yeah, we've lost this game. We're going to move on to the next one. You can't win every game. Some matchups are always going to be bad for decks. Infernoids have some issues with decks that keep our graveyard from getting full, but there we just lost to Honest, an unpredictable hand trap. B.A. Non. Oh.
I read ban. Where is the ban list?
It could be. So we lost a dice roll. Our opponent has elected to go first, meaning this imagination could be super live, letting us do every kind of OTK possible. If he has Lycoris, he'll get free search anyway. We won't take damage from negating it, and we won't take damage from drawing a card. We don't really want him to search Reincarnation, so I would Impermanence it. Because we don't want him to like take our one... we don't want him to take our imagination out of our hand. Because we need it for Feast to resolve. Oh, okay. Now we're just going to double Feast and win. But first, I would set the Feast. I would also set the Imagination. This is to play around Reincarnation. Now activate Void Vanishment. I would have said it any... I guess we don't have any monsters on the field. for him to use an impermanence on it. So yeah, we're going to activate Banishment, discarding a Tondel just to keep our OTK machine in the deck, and we're going to search for Feast. Now, by doing it this way, we've protected ourselves from losing our cost for the other. Oh, well, we only add once, so that actually.
How many sites must you run?
I run 2.
Okay, good.
All right, so we're going to set that.
Piece is still alive.
Yes.
Do you want me to flip this so we could save the Banishment?
Yeah, we are going to flip the Imagination now, and we're going to end our turn. So on the next turn, we're going to have 5 Infernoids, and we would like to try and wait.
Shotgun? No.
No.
Okay.
Because, I mean, unless he has, like, Terraforming into the field spell, we're not that worried. Because then it'll lock us down and force our hand. We don't want to be forced. But since we stopped the Candina search and he didn't do another search... Okay, so now we're going to stop it because now we can potentially negate the actual field spell. So we're going to Feast, sending Imagination to the graveyard as cost. And then we're going to hold our button here so we can chain and send the other Feast to the graveyard as cost. Because it's still a face-up Void card on the field. First, we're going to do Decatron, Sajet. They're going to be summoned, and then the second Feast is going to resolve, allowing us to summon Seitzmas and the other Decatron. We have no reason to go in attack position. Let's go in defense. He has cards on the board, so we're probably going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about what zones we're in that much, because his Candina is blocking his best zone for... yeah, we're going to do Decatron and Seitzmas. And, yeah, his Candina is currently blocking his best zone for playing a Mech Knight, because it is possible it's a Mech Knight deck.
Sure.
So our Chainlink 1 is going to be our Inoku. Yeah, well, I guess it's kind of hard to tell which one's which here. Just do them all. Alright, so Chainlink 1 we're going to make Inoku, but Chainlink 3 we're going to make Deviati, and Chainlink 1...
no, 2. You never mentioned 2.
I'm sorry. Chainlink 1 is...
Deviati X Inoku.
Well, he's probably not going to go into the extra deck, so let's just do 2 Inokus. So...
Deviati Inoku.
Yeah. Because we want Chainlink 1 to be an Inoku, because it's the one that's in front of the Candina, because he could always tag it out for the Lycoris and clear that zone to summon a Mech Knight. So now we're going to be negating that first. Although I did mention in the previous attempt to do this, we're going to try not to tribute the Decatron. We're going to activate the Inoku Decatron now and tribute the Sajet to negate the field spell. That way he can't call by the grave and negate all of them. At least not yet. And if he does, we can just negate Called by the Grave with the other Inoku. Because all 3 Decatrons are negated by Called by the Grave. Alright, so that's probably going to slow him down a bit. As long as we keep 2 monsters, we'll be able to link off and make a lot of plays next turn. The only thing we don't want to get stuck with is just the Deviati, because then it becomes hard to summon Infernoids, and we can't just negate our own monster effects at will. But we can negate our spells and traps at will if we get stuck with just the Inoku, because we have the Vanishment on the field. Occasionally you'll activate your own spell or trap just to negate it, so you can tribute your big Infernoid so you can summon smaller ones. Well, he doesn't seem to know what he wants to do. Maybe he didn't expect that card to get negated.
Ah, he's choosing his cards to banish for Eater.
Okay, that makes some sense. He'd probably attack into the 2 that haven't done anything.
Wow, that's the wrong order. Because we could negate that effect with our Deviati.
And we're going to.
How about we tribute himself? Because we could always negate a call by the grave with him.
Yeah, as long as the Candina is there, I guess it's fine. Yeah. So Eater of Millions is now banished.
Oh, how ironic.
Yeah. Well, he's banished face up, so that's a big difference. So he's actually attacking the wrong Decatron, giving us another out.
Potentially, yeah.
For a spell or a trap card.
I mean, assuming he's not playing another one this turn, it makes no difference. But if he is, then it's a pretty bad misplay.
Now, if we use Void Banishment next turn, we can't summon or do Little Chimera, so we're going to have to try our best to not use a search until after we make Do Little Chimera. And something tells me he's not going into the extra deck this turn, so Imagination's not going to be live. That's also why we're willing to use both Anokus. Launch isn't useful here, so I guess we're going to go into Doolittle Chimera.
Kind of does a lot, though.
Yeah, he does a little. He doesn't do a little like his name suggests. He does a lot. So we're going to summon a Tondel because we don't want to accidentally banish him. We can banish 2 of the Decatrons. We don't need them. We're not playing Rekindling to summon them. We do want to try and keep 1 in case everything goes south. He could be playing Torrential. If he Torrentials, we get back Decatron from the graveyard. Alright, so that's makes sense where he would surrender
Next
there.
was probably summon Deviati.
Yeah, and then just attacking through with
a Tondel.
We would win. And unless he played
Honest.
Honest.
Ask for a rematch just because
It's
a legitimate deck.
Alright, we'll try again. If he had Honest, just like the other guy, we would have lost. But, you know, that happens to a lot of decks. A lot of decks lose to Honest because you suddenly become unable to finish the game on that turn because one monster becomes, like, unkillable by becoming way too big. It's in the middle of the battle phase. Lots of things go wrong there. Alright, so we have Imagination, so that's good for him going first and making an extra deck monster. We can't guarantee that, though. Also, by having Decatron and Petrula, we have a way into Omega as a secondary play. Although Omega does conflict with Purification. Alright, so we're playing Thunder Dragons. He only searches 1 Thunder Dragon, so that means he has a dead Thunder Dragon in his hand.
It's not entirely true.
You think these decks play 2 sometimes?
No, they do it where they only search 1 sometimes because they'll get an effect off of the other guy to pop a card every time they use a Thunder monster in hand effect.
Oh, okay. Well,
so they might have one search 1 and then have the next one search another. Right. Just to trigger another Thunder effect.
That's interesting. Well, this is going to be a big meta matchup next format. Now, we can't out him necessarily by just destroying him, so we're going to... We kind of need to make Deviati, but we also kind of want to be able to bounce his monster.
We have the Imagination.
Yeah, we're going to be using Imagination. We could actually resolve 2 Imaginations, but we won't be able to OTK. So what I would do is I would use Imagination first, because we could just search the second one if he negates it with an Ash Blossom. Oh, we can't search the second one, now that I think about it. Well, let's resolve it. We could have gone into Deviati and negated an Ash, but I feel like he isn't Ashing because... He probably doesn't play Ash because his monsters naturally do it. So we have to send Anoku, 1 Deviati, and then we're just going to send all the big boys. I try and leave the Sajet just in case we have to feast later on in the game, but it's not that important. And leave the Antra because we need it to bounce his monster to finish the game. Pick the Petrula is fine.
Alright, that's
and is that a 6? Yep, alright, then just press OK. Alright. Now, he only has 2 Thunders in grave. We could just pop him, I guess. Send 2 Nates and 1 Tierra. Although if he mills a Thunder, I guess that won't work out. And if we mill Antra, that could also work out badly for us. But then we can just make a Harmadic and pop him again, and then we can into Doolittle. So there's a lot of options here. I guess we should have just sent the 3rd one to be safe. So he's got 4 Thunders in grave.
Yep.
Can you protect him multiple times in the same battle? I mean the same turn?
I believe so.
Okay.
This guy's going to trigger, I think, too.
That one's going to add... Oh, he might get to summon 1 for defense. I think we win anyway. It doesn't really matter. Because we can make Underclock and attack over his other monster, or we just have to bounce the Thunder Dragon, the fusion monster on the field. What's he called? Super Bolt the Thunder Dragon. Once we bounce him with the Antra effect, we should be safe. Okay. So summon Decatron to any zone.
Maybe mulligan into Ash.
That's problematic. Still send Entra anyway. Doesn't really matter. Alright, so we're going to use Void Vanishment. We're going to search for... Oh, we can't search. Attack his monster. It's fine. I forgot. His monster is a mistake.
Are we going to use the banishment effect to banish?
No. We're just going to search another imagination and tribute it off.
We can't because he saves himself.
Oh.
Unless we do this. Then we can bring guys just for negates.
Yeah, alright. We'll use Void Vanishment to banish his monster so we don't have to deal with it anymore. We have Purification, so we can add a Decatron back to hand on the following turn.
And we could also set up negates if we wanted to.
Yeah, we're going to put out Patrula, so we only banish one monster to summon something. So banish anybody. That's fine. And then we're going to summon Deviati to negate a monster effect. Trying to leave at least one Decatron. We don't need two. Yeah, there's no reason to put it in an attack position because he's going to be in the battle phase. And then we're going to start recycling cards using Void Purification.
In the standby.
Standby, yeah. If you do it now, we can potentially Ogre it. So depending on whether you're in a format where Ogre comes up, you might want to activate it earlier. You want to activate it on the standby. So. Yeah, we did get Ogred, so activating on the standby makes more sense. But in against something like Paleos, where they can't negate cards that are already face up with Toad, you could flip it early. Being able to Decatron after things go wrong is always helpful. Stopping Bulb. How important is Bulb?
Might be doing some kind of needle fiber play or something.
Could be. We can negate needle fiber, but then we'd only have one banish left. I would banish it just with the Patrula. Because this once per duel, you ain't gonna get it back. We're still defending. I would negate that, because if he can't put another monster on the field, he can't summon the big Thunder Dragon guy, and I feel like with only 4 cards in hand, we're probably not going to get OTK'd, and if we don't get OTK'd, we should win. It's just unfortunate we had to use the Vanishment to get rid of his monster before, which also was worked out not working so great, because I still intended to use the Vanishment to search, but a lot of variables with certain decks. Alright, I don't know what his next play would be. A lot of these decks play BLS and other big summon monsters for banishing cards.
Well, they search the BLS like this guy.
Oh. Well, it looks like he isn't doing anything, so he must not have banished a relevant one. Okay, so let's just put a Decatron back in the graveyard, so we can add it back on the following turn. What does his monster do?
When this turn, if the monster effect is activated in the hand, this card gains 300 attack until the end of this turn. When this card destroys one monster by battle, you can banish one card from your graveyard, add a Thunder monster from your deck to your hand. Once returned during the opponent's end phase, you can target one rare for banished cards, place it on either the top or the bottom of your deck.
Alright, I think we could just destroy it with Harmodic.
I agree.
So Harmodic, banish one of the small Infernoids that aren't going anywhere anyway. Alright, I'm going to take over.
That's your phone.
Oh, it's mine? Oh.
Alright, so
I'll call you back in a minute.
To go for game, I'm just going to normal this, get more fodder in the grave, and make Doolittle, and then 2 big bodies.
Yeah, Doolittle and 2 big bodies should be fine. He might have an Ash.
Him ashing me doesn't matter, because this is just to make Doolittle, really, is why I summoned it.
Yeah, we have enough big guys already available. Although now we're giving up Purification, but since we're winning the game, it doesn't really matter. But that Decatron could have been helpful, because if we didn't draw the Harmodic, we would have had access to a Harmodic. If you have enough Infernoids, it'd be preferable to make 2 Doolittles, then to summon the Atondel and the Deviati, so that you can tribute one of your monsters to negate a monster effect like a Battle Fader. Although I wouldn't do it in this particular case. may have time for one more. All right, we're going to try and get another game or two. That was an interesting one because it's a matchup that I'm not really familiar with yet. Imagination's usually a blowout in the matchup, but we were... What did he do? He ashed the Decatron when we tried to go into Entre?
Ogred it.
Oh, we ogred it.
Which isn't typically a good move, but...
Yeah, ogering Decatron isn't really a good move because it doesn't really stop you from getting access to certain monsters, but it did prevent us from Link summoning, and it prevented us from outing his monster. So in that case, it was a really good play. I used to play the level 1 Infernoid, which made it easier to use Harmodic to make, what's his name, Chambara. But I found without Paleozoic as a deck in the format, or other trap-based decks, it's not that helpful, and Permeus is really not good against Altergeist, because like every trap in their deck can be activated immediately.
GG. Legacy Crusaders beats Legacy.
Well, he was missing the Crusaders and the YT part from his name, so couldn't handle it. That's alright. He probably allured and had no cards, and was going to lose everything. Alright, so blind second. If you know your local tournament scene, you should definitely consider going first in the right circumstances. If your opponent's first turn board is unbreakable, then you have to go first. Here we're just getting milled against by a bunch of Lightsworns. Oh, Lightsworn Zombies. Neat. That's my other deck. Oh, okay. And I'm glad all these things went to the graveyard during his end phase. Now he doesn't get an opportunity to really respond to what we're doing. So we're going to use Banishment, set it in column, activate in column 5. Activate Banishment, discarding Seitzmas, and we're going to hopefully not get ogred. Well, that's not a big deal. But that is the kind of card where you might want to consider not discarding a monster. Grab Feast. And I don't think our columns are that important for this, so we're just going to set Purification in column 3 and Feast in the 2 unoccupied columns by him. So 1 and 4. Doesn't matter. We're going to use it immediately. Uh-oh, that we did need to hold.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know how we're going to...
No, it's fine. Activate...
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we're going to use the Void Seer from hand.
There's no card I could activate.
Well, it's fine. End phase. Alright, so now we're going to have to... Right now, hold it. We're going to use Feast to send the Vanishment, which we would have been sending Seer, but it's fine. We'll send Vanishment. He might have a chance to respond. If he does, we still have a second Feast. So we're going to Feast again, sending the other Feast as cost. So one Feast can use the other as cost. We're going to summon 5 monsters.
And then we're going to tribute the Decatron and pick it up.
One Decatron is immediately going to be tributed to banish the Spectral Sword from his graveyard. And then we're going to use Purification to add it back to the hand. Where we go isn't that important here, because we're going to be filling the board. I guess the Decatron in the far left zone, we're probably going to be the one tributing for clearing his cards. So we'll see what chain link the program winds up putting us on for that. Oh yeah, he's negated this turn. All right, so just yes to all of them. Just click them all. Alright, so chain link 1 we're going to make into a Tondel. We're just going to tribute and banish his card, and the other 2 we're going to make a Noku and Deviati. And we're going to immediately tribute during the standby phase with the Tondel Decatron so that we can add it back to hand with Purification. I guess if he has Called by the Grave, we just negate it with the Decatron on the field. And now we're set up for our next turn, and we're going to make his turn really difficult. Alright. So that's that's the ideal like turn 1 setup if you don't have Banishment.
Turn 2.
Yeah, it's kind of turn 3, because we're kind of playing a turn 1 deck on turn 2. Because we just need more cards, because we're adding to our possible opening plays. Because Imagination is our best opening play when we're going second, and Feast is our best opening play going first. Unless we're playing like a lair build that plays Lilith, we're restricted on how many ways we have to get to Feast. So I prefer to just go second and have more opening plays possible. Do you think we need to show anything else? Because I feel like Imagination's come up now. We've done some cool combos with Purification. Is there anything else you think we need to do? Or anything you haven't seen? Or
not in particular. I guess we've seen the Purification plays. We've not used Launch, so this is all pretty standard.
Yeah, my brother.
We haven't seen many Seer plays yet. There's some nice Seer plays, banishing him from grave and OTKing with an Oku plus whatever's still alive. Yeah, I think we're fine though.
Alright, so I'm just going to do a brief recording on what's in the deck, and I'll add that into the beginning or the end, whatever.
Gentlemen, so long, and the reason I say gentlemen is, come on, before we can.
Alright, thanks, brother. Alright, so this is my deck list. In no way do I say it's perfect. It works for me. I played 2 Infernoid Anoku, 2 Infernoid Deviati, 1 Infernoid Atondel, 2 Infernoid Seitzmas, 1 Infernoid Sajet, 2 Infernoid Petrula, 2 copies of Infernoid Harmadic, 1 Infernoid Antra, 3 Infernoid Decatron, 2 Void Seers. I find Void Seer tends to be like your version of Honest. It's the card that your opponent can't plan for and they run into all the time. I play 3 copies of Called by the Grave, which I feel is the only reason that I can play this deck, because before Ash Blossom came out, the only card that really stopped your deck was Solemn Warning, and it stopped Feast. Now it's kind of like there are 4 Solemn Warnings that stop Feast. Solemn Warning actually doesn't stop Imagination, but Ash does. So between the 3 Ashes stopping everything, like if Called by the Grave wasn't a thing, I wouldn't want to play this deck. I play 3 Imagination because I'm blinding second, and I play 3 Vanishment. So it's essentially 6 copies of Imagination, which is the blowout card, which you want to do. If you don't have Call by the Grave to protect it, you can always normal summon a Decatron and make it into Deviati to protect it that way. Also, although you want to try and avoid tributing the the Decatron, if a Call by the Grave could stop you. I play 3 copies of the Infinite Impermanence because it's unaffected by Neospatian Aqua Dolphin, which is a heavy play in Gouki decks. It's also unaffected by Called by the Grave. So this is the safest hand trap. I am trying to play a 40-card deck in a deck that's technically full of bricks. Every Infernoid monster is a brick. You really don't want to open monsters. You want to open Vanishment or Goes in Match or Feast, and you want Feast to be live. So I have upped the Void spell and trap count just to make the Feast live, because you have to account for having a really mediocre floor of ability in this deck by increasing the ceiling. Playing 3 copies of Void Feast, which is like the best card going first or second. In this case, you're probably going to be always summoning Sajet and 2 Decatrons. If the Sajet gets milled, you can always do Decatron, Harmadic, and Petrula. Or if you do 2 Feasts, the second Feast will probably be Seitzmas and Decatron. I play 3 copies of Goes in Match because it's better than Rivalry in this deck because it affects Altergeist as well, so they have to play a little funny. They can't summon anything off of Multi-Faker when this is out. But these are the cards now that beat the Gouki board, Goes in Match and Rivalry of the Warlords. Once your opponent has 2 monster types on the field, they have to send all their other copies to the graveyard until they only have 1 attribute. So against the Gouki board, they just send everything but Cerberus and Trigate Wizard because they're Earth, and all the Gouki monsters in their deck are Earth, so they want to be able to continue to attack. If you go second and you open 2 Goes in Match, you get to break the Gouki board because they can only negate 1 with the Trigate Wizard. I play Purification because I like to recycle my Decatrons. Also, I don't want to play Burial from Different Dimension because really early game it's totally dead, where this card is pretty good at all times. It just pretty much allows you to start using your Infernoids earlier to just mess with your opponent's graveyard. Because you just get to if you play small ones, you can summon 1 and then recoup the losses immediately. So you can add the 1 you just summoned back after banishing card from the graveyard, and then return to the graveyard the card you used to banish to summon the monster. So this card's really good, especially with Decatron. Void Launch just sends 2 Infernoids from deck to graveyard, and I just prefer it to opening a monster that I'm just going to have to banish. So getting 2 monsters on the following turn, and then 2 monsters every turn afterwards is very helpful. These 4 cards are also very helpful in like weird matches, like Paleozoic and Psyframes, because Totally Awesome cannot negate cards that are already face up on the field active. So if you can start your game against Paleozoic or Psyframes, you might want to get these traps flipped up immediately, and you also want to try and get Void Vanishment active face up immediately, and Void Imagination active and face up immediately to try and avoid them from tributing their monster to either tributing their Toad to negate it later, or activating Epsilon to negate them later, or Delta. So once you get continuous cards face up against those decks, they tend to lose pretty hard. So let's talk about the extra deck real fast. I play 2 Tierra. You play 2 because sometimes you just want to send an extra name to the graveyard to summon more Infernoids. And I play 1 copy of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon because Cyber Dragons is a deck. I don't really care for Mega Fleet outing the Gouki board because I don't think it outs it that well. Also, Mega Fleet's a level 10, so you can't really summon any Infernoids after you do out it, because normally the play to out the Gouki board with Cyber Dragon is you tribute summon over Ibli, and then you then you fuse with the monsters in the extra zone. Then you have a level 10 monster with 3200 attack, but they still have a full board and he doesn't do much after that. But Fortress Dragon against just Cyber Dragons, you can just clear their board without summoning any cards. But and if I guess I'll do it with Cyber Dragon if I wanted to play it just to have more outs to the Gouki board, but I play enough already. I play 3 Elder Entity Test. When this card's sent to the graveyard, destroy 1 card in the field, so pretty much you send it off of Tierra's effect. And you can destroy Tierra if your levels are being clogged, or you can destroy your opponent's cards, or a combination of both. I play 1 Scarlight to potentially do burn damage and win a game in time. I play 1 Omega to summon in not the best scenarios. You can use Omega just to have something to do, because sometimes you're not, because Infernoids you use a lot of cards to play, so this is a card that lets you go plus in a way by returning your cards to the graveyard. I play 1 Shanbar. It's a little hard to summon, but it can end games pretty quick, so Patrula and a Decatron that doesn't use its effect could result in Shanbara or an Entra with a hand trap when decided in. I play Borreload, but I haven't really summoned it much. It just doesn't come up that often, because if you double feasted, you're probably ruining their board anyway, and you don't really need to do much. But I guess if your opponent has a Borreload, you might need to take theirs. I play 1 Triple Burst Dragon to negate Sky Striker Ace Ray from coming back from the graveyard. I play 2 copies of Doolittle Chimera for OTKs. Underclock Taker for OTKs, where you wind up with a monster that isn't necessarily fire. Also, sometimes it's just easier to make to reduce their monster by 3,000 than to gain 500. So depending on the scenario, one of these might be better than the other. I play 1 Nightmare Mermaid because there are other builds of decks that play the Gouki board or the Nightmare board, and if they don't end optimally, you can potentially at least get rid of Ibli by going into Nightmare Mermaid. Also, that's kind of that for Nightmares. I play 3 copies of the Winged Dragon of Raw Sphere Mode for outing the Gouki board, because it is the toughest matchup. All the other matchups are okay, except for maybe Altergeist. I play 2 Ash because you can only activate 1 in turn. If you only play 2, you're not really going to open too many. Whoops. I play 2 Ghost Ogres because same reason. If you only play 2, you can't open too many. I prefer Ghost Ogre so if I get called by the grave on my Ash, I can still Ogre the Firewall. Ogre is also very good against Altergeist for hitting like Altergeist Protocol or Personal Spoofing. I was playing Evenly Matched. I decided that 1 Evenly Matched doesn't out the Gouki board, so I prefer to play Mirror of the Ice Barrier in conjunction with Gozen Match, because then if they try to negate Gozen Match or they target it during their turn, you can chain Mirror of the Ice Barrier. You can chain the Gozen Match. They have to negate the Gozen Match, and then you can chain Mirror of the Ice Barrier, and now they've banished a card on your field. So you can then banish 2 of their cards. Also, you could do that kind of with 2 Mirror of the Ice Barrier as well, and just banish 2 of their cards. Remove the Trigate Wizard and Linkaribo, and then they're left with an awkward board. I also play 3 Twin Twisters for back row decks, and 2 Typhoons also for Altergeist. It's also good against True Draco, because if they play a mono Awada, you can't really use Ogre, but you can still Typhoon. And whenever Diagram goes onto the board, they almost always set a spell or trap card, because destroying it lets them go plus on their heritage, so it's almost always live in those scenarios. It's also good against Secret Village, which could be played against you by Altergeist, because Altergeist tend to play Secret Village for the sake of stopping Sky Strikers. Trickstar is a slightly hard match because they don't go into the extra deck, making Imagination very dead, but if they're playing Sky Striker Trickstar, they do go in there a lot. Gozen Match still stops Sky Striker's pretty hard because Ray and the token from Hornet Drones are both dark, and all the extra deck monsters are different. They're fire, wind, and water, so we can't do much with that. Other cards I've considered playing in the extra deck include Archfiend's Oath. It's just a card where you play it onto the field, so it's face up on the field. Then you pay 500 and call the top card of your deck. And if you call it correctly, you add it to your hand. So you just call Sphere Mode, and then your opponent has to negate it, because the assumption is that you don't have Sphere Mode or an out to their board. So when they negate it, then if you do play Evenly Match, you can then evenly match the board, because now they've already used the Tri-Gate Wizard negate. They might not negate it. And you can also call any card in your deck. So it becomes an Upstart Goblin at the worst, because if you mill an Infernoid, it's kind of like going plus, and if you call the correct card, the card you need to win the duel right then, you could win the duel. The only problem with that particular card is you pay 500, so you lose some life points. Also, if they negate it, you can always use Mirror the Ice Barrier. Because it's on the field when you trigger its effect, it would be considered a card on the field, so it would probably allow you to banish their 2 cards. That one I'm not 100% sure on. Anyways, that's going to wrap up how to play Infernoids. I want to thank everybody for coming through. I want to thank my brother for playing it out. Trying it the other way around where I played it and him asking questions didn't work so well, so we had to try and do it again, make it more clear. If you have any questions, you can leave comments down below. If you like the video, subscribe and check the notification bell to see when our next deck goes up. If there's something you want to see, just leave a comment. If you want to participate in this series, you can always contact me through our Discord server, which is in the description box below. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful day.